we live?
Vulnerable are powerful.
Yes, sir.
And the most gangster thing you could do is serve.
Yes, sir.
All the way live.
Oh, what it be like? What it be like? Please drop some bombs, some air horns, some gunshots. Drop something.
Are we live?
Yes. We are in the building. What is good, people? What it be like? Peace to the planet. What up?
Hey, man. Hey, Mr. Miles Xavier. This is undoubtedly the All the Way Live podcast, man. What we do over here on a weekly basis, every week, you know what it is. On time. You give people that carefully curated content for their cranium. You feel me?
Mm-hmm. Killing head tops the world over. What's good?
Hey, man, this is what we always say, a place of positivity, intentional positivity. This is a space for anybody, man, that even if we can just give people a little bit of a good time on their weekday, because people are going through it. And if this could be even just a pocket of happiness, that's exactly what we do here at the show every week.
Make me happy. Happy to be here.
For real, this has become so therapeutic. Like, this is a very positive outlet to have, and the fact that people even listening to us, referencing these conversations, hitting us up, that means absolutely the world to us, man, and that's what keeps us going.
Thank y'all.
You know exactly how we dish out this year content. Curated content is by breaking the show up into 3 different parts. We got that stumble upon. This is where me and Miles talk about everything that is interested us throughout the week. We bring that to y'all. And this week, we got some super dope content. I'm actually very excited about everything that's lined up.
Yeah, we got another one. Whole lot for y'all. It's a plethora. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. And from there, we go to current news. On current news this week, man, we're going to be talking about Naomi Osaka. We're going to be talking about a whole host of other current news. There's a lot of things that are happening. We're going to try and pack as many as we can, but being guided by this young, strong, powerful Black woman. And you know how we support Black women, period, over here. So that
I'm
is
a Black. Had to hit it one time.
You got to do it. How appropriate.
Right?
The first time we did it last week, though, I think we forced in the drop, but that felt appropriate.
Not, it's so good. You want to use it, but we get
Do it again.
I'm a Black. Word.
Oh man, it's the small things that bring me joy. And we're gonna wrap the show up with recommended and review. Now, Miles, can you tell us why recommended and review is our favorite part of the show?
I love recommended and review because we get to interact with you. We review what you recommend. We tell you what you should view if it's cool. And this week we're getting into Lil Baby, Lil Durk, the voice of the heroes. I gotta get my auto-tune over that one. You know what I'm saying? Heroes. Yeah.
Hey, it's an exciting time. It's an exciting time for hip hop, man. And that's the show in a nutshell. Whether it's one person, 10 people, 10,000 people, it don't matter to us. Everybody's absolutely welcome over here. Let's start the show.
Yeah, man. You already know what's going on. Brought to you from the illustrious Gallery Momo on that side. You know what I'm saying? South Africa is in the building. Chicago is also in the building. On this side, the building is in Chicago, South Shore. This podcast is recorded on stolen land, right? This land was cared for by the Potawatomi people, the Council of the Three Fires, and the violence that was done to separate them from this land is inseparable from the violence that we see perpetrated in this country today, in this city today, and in this world today, man. So with that, we lifting up love for indigenous people the world over, lifting up love between Black and brown people the world over, intro over. We're going to start the show, man. We're going to start the show.
Yes, sir. What a beautiful way to welcome us into the show with that land acknowledgement.
Yeah, it's very important. It's very, very important, and never more so than today, right? So without any further ado, just let me get into this because it's very much connected to the land acknowledgement. It's very much something that I feel like it's important for us to touch on, not only because we do the land acknowledgement, but in who we want to be as a show. You know what I'm saying? Covering the issues that matter to us and the issues that we think we need to educate and speak more about. So what's happening is in Canada, man, they found 251 dead children buried in a mass grave, right? Like, yo, 215. My bad. I think I said 51. 215 children, right? And that's heavy, bro. That's heavy. All indigenous Native American children, right?
Your mic
And
was tripping, but it's perfect now.
cool. We're gonna keep it rocking. So
Yeah.
yeah, man. So the thing that struck me about the story, other than just that devastating loss, is that's like not how I think about Canada, bro. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about you, but when I think about Canada, I usually think super positive thoughts, especially with comparison to the United States.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is, us now stepping into our stumble upon conversation. With regards to that, those findings, is what are the details of it? As someone that's unfamiliar with the story, what are the findings?
Yeah. So last week in Canada, an indigenous community confirmed that it found the remains of 215 children on the grounds of a residential school, right? So essentially what was happening is in the 1900s, right? So there were these, in much the same way that the United States is responsible for the removal and extermination of Native American people in this land, right? Canada was doing much of the same thing with the indigenous people that were in spaces that is now Canada. Part of what they did, right, in, taking land and colonizing this space was separating children from their families, putting them into boarding schools, where the purpose of this was essentially to remove that Native American culture from them, right? It was to make sure that they didn't speak that language, to teach them essentially that their culture was not a culture and that they needed to be civilized, right? And so part of doing that was separating them from their parents. But what ended up happening in these schools was not just education, but also like just
Indoctrination. It's an
indoctrination, but also violence, also beatings, also assaults, and also the molestation of these children. So these schools were also run by the Catholic Church, right? And so we know about the history of the Catholic Church and child abuse. And of course, that was perpetrated in these spaces, right? So I've been listening to some accounts of survivors of that space, and it's really harrowing, bro. It's terrible what was done in that space. And I think it's just important to acknowledge that we continue to uncover history that shows us that all of these spaces, all like in the Western world, wherever there is wealth, wherever there is a high level of life, quality of life, we continue to find that that's built upon violence, structural violence, right, to different groups of people. Yeah. And that's messed up, yo. That's messed up. So very much we've touched upon in this podcast multiple times, the Chicago race riot of 1919, a piece of history that happened in Chicago, violence done to Black people that doesn't get talked about. You know what I mean? It was just the 100-year anniversary of the Tulsa race massacre, right? That happened where they bombed Black Wall Street in Tulsa, this Black community that had become prosperous, and a white community came in and eradicated that purposely because it was prosperous, right? It represented a progress that they didn't earnestly want to see Black people do. Yeah. And so the further we go back, we see that has its roots in violence done to Native Americans, that they were kind of the first groups to be marginalized and murdered in mass, right? So this is an important story, just a reminder that, especially Canada, I'm like, dang, Canada, you know what I mean? I messed with Canada, I thought, right? But it's just like, yeah, man, the violence is widespread, bro.
It is widespread, and the reason why I support even news of this nature being prominent and being brought to our attention, regardless of how many people were impacted by it, is because I believe there's almost a snowball effect of stories being uncovered, right? Once we're able to open up space and invest in getting everybody's story regarding their past, story regarding their history with the land. Recently in South Africa, the Khoisan people in Cape Town were rejecting an Amazon facility that's an AWS Amazon Web Service. Actually, I think it's the retail facility. So Amazon is establishing this massive retail facility in Cape Town, and the Khoisan people are saying that that's being done on their land. Now, you know, as a country, we laugh about it because oh, it's these primitive people, and you know, it's primitive and whatever the case is. But the reality of it is, if those people say that they have a claim to it, at what point is their story then become relevant in what they've what you know what repercussions that their community is having or whatever the case may be. But with that land acknowledgement there in Canada, it's Canada was always the good big cousin of America, I must say.
Right, right. And it's you know, it just covers so many things that we've talked about on this podcast, right? The shattering of those illusions, right? Recognizing that, you know, whether it be a person, organization, nation, that there's usually some dirt there, right? And just trying to contextualize what that means. I remember not too long ago when the in the midst of George Floyd's murder and the murder of Breonna Taylor, I remember Black people jokingly saying, you know, man, I'm gonna just go to Canada. It's getting crazy out here.
Yeah.
And just to be reminded that there isn't a space that's free of this structural history, at least not in the West, not none of these white run countries. So just makes you think, just really makes you think.
It does, and I'm going a little bit off of our script with this, but it made me think recently when we were planning to travel around Europe, the fact that we had to research uh, the current events of what's happening in that country before we went. Like you had said in a few podcasts ago, you were saying in Germany there was there's a lot an increasing support of right wing rhetoric, and then in Italy there's an increasing assaults that are happening on people of color, and this rhetoric of anti-immigration violence is really sparking up. And we had to research that before going, and that literally changed where we go our Euro trip plan. Because as a Black person, I will not, for one, pay to be in a place where I'm gonna be treated unfairly. But also there's a physical violence danger element to it as well. Like as a Black man, the reality of people hating me just because of what I look like and that inciting them to attack me, that's a reality.
There's so many things in what you just said that like so many different directions you could go. You know what I mean? You brought up, right, Germany, which is a space that we not only thought about going to and examined, and we're like, oh man, look at what's happening there. Do we want this to be a part of our vacation? Because it's so much a part of our lives, right? This protests against police brutality. But also you went to boarding school there, which relates to the story that we were just telling. What was that like as a Black man going to boarding school in Germany?
Man, I went to I went to a Christian boarding school. Like, you know, it really was like super Christian boarding school. Like, listen, bro, there's levels of
Almost Catholic?
there's levels, and I do have to say those people treated me with nothing but respect and love. And I do believe I'm a better person for that. So shout out
I'm glad.
to anybody from there that might be listening to this. You know what I'm saying? But
I'm
that
glad
being
that's
said, but that being said, it was tough like Christian boarding school. But it was cool because it was in the Black Forest. So it's just like nestled in these Germany has a lot of different towns, right? So it was nestled within the town Kandern, and it was very quaint. It was quiet. There was a little bit of a little racist undertones, but for the most part, it was like a semi college campusy type of thing.
And that brings me to my next question, those semi-racist undertones. You were saying that you wouldn't pay to be in a space where you get treated unfairly. But then would you ever live in an affluent neighborhood that wasn't Black? Because then the chances are probably gonna get pulled over, ask what you're doing here, kids are gonna get stopped. You live here? Would you ever live in a space where the community felt safe maybe from violence, but there was an air of, you might be the only Black people in the neighborhood, and that might affect your experience. Would you be willing to do that?
I mean, Miles, our whole lives has been that experience. You know, why stop now? Why stop
But
now?
the flip side of that is, ain't you sick of it? Like,
Definitely,
and
it's
that's not
tiring.
my experience now, right? Like, I live in a primarily Black neighborhood now, and I love it, right? And it's crazy. I was actually talking to someone the other week, right? Like, there's the element of
understanding that there's violence going on in this neighborhood, and yet as somebody who knows the neighborhood and walks it, like being still more worried about the police than I am about any of these people, right? I'm not worried about, I'm not worried that I'm chilling outside on the corner or on my stoop or whatever, and some white person is going to call the cops on me, because there's no white people to be worried about that, and I love that, despite what other things might come with the neighborhood. So I think I'm in a place where going forward, I don't want to live in a primarily white neighborhood, even if it is affluent. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to try and find how can I figure out where I can send my kids to the best school and yet still be in a community where we feel safe culturally.
That's an important thing to consider. And I think that, again, always speaks on a major belief of this podcast, which is that if you put your money behind what you care about and you are making a financial decision when you say, I'm not going to take my kids to an affluent white school, I'm going to take them to a place where they're culturally appreciated. And then the value then goes into schools that have that respect for culture, right? And then that becomes prominent and that becomes important. So I agree with you, but also it's important that I tell you that experience, because I'm very familiar with it, especially in the US, is not a universal experience. Now, granted, Black people in South Africa do go, and I only speak of that because that's my point of reference, right? But that's not entirely true. There are many places where the affluent, there's just nothing but Black affluence, right? And those places they're not met with the same type of hostility and police relationships. Now, I can't speak on the whole of Africa for that, because we saw what happened in Nigeria,
right?
But from my perspective, it is important to note that there are places, especially in South Africa, where you can the affluence is not as tip top as it is in the US. There's places where it is. There's places where it is, definitely.
Right.
But you don't have that same fear of the police doing that. No, it's not the same.
Yeah. Well, there are spaces in the US where it's Black affluent communities as well. So that kind of gets to the heart of my question is, does the existence of those spaces mean that, because that exists and you could live there, you would never live in an affluent white community? Because why? You could live in an affluent Black community.
Yeah. No, vote with your dollars, for sure. And the motherland is full of those. Actually, if an ad would like to be placed here, I can make an ad for the motherland right now, if you don't mind, Miles Xavier. This is for our future ad sponsors.
Just the motherland in general. Just like the motherland, go to it.
I wasn't gonna be that short with it, but that was gonna be the essence of the ad.
I got you. I rock with that. I love the motherland.
People who love the motherland.
And you are down with the motherland. Like, comment, and subscribe to this podcast. Hashtag down with the motherland. No, actually, I don't like down with the motherland.
Down with the motherland? No. I'm not feeling that. Listen, it's getting difficult staying in the motherland, though. I'm gonna be honest. There's power cuts that are happening in South Africa. There is energy structural issues that are making it difficult for business to be done. The climate is difficult. However, I have recently adopted optimism to what I think the outcome of this generation is going to be. And I'm all for supporting the people that are doing things that are pushing that forward, much like Naomi Osaka. So if I say Kawabanga and then you say wave, does that mean we're doing current news?
Current news. Welcome to current news. Yes. And this is a double drop segment because it's also lifting up. It's amazing just to be able to like lift up a Black woman in sports and be like, yo, she's dope. And continuing a legacy of Black women dominating tennis, right? So Naomi Osaka is a true champion in my mind, regardless of anything. Right. But you know what's going on, man. You want to tell the people a little bit about what's happening right now with our girl?
The French Open. Do you mind pulling up an article on it? But what I do understand.
I got you. Don't trip. I got it.
Thank you. You've been reading.
Yo, nigga, your brother told us how you be all into reading and shit. Hey, that's some real good shit, my nigga, for real. Congratulations, nigga.
That's right. Clears throat, pushes glasses up the bridge of nose. ESPN, the tennis champ, Naomi Osaka, withdrew from the French Open after she was fined $15,000 and faced threats of suspension for not talking to the media. Osaka revealed she's dealt with bouts of depression and anxiety since 2018 and that the media has affected her mental health. Now she's calling a timeout and taking a break from the tennis court.
Can I stop you there? Can we read what she said about it?
All right, man, come on, man. I got reads for you, but you got some specifics now. Hold on, let me get my scroll on. Hey, how is that not a song? Hold on, let me get my scroll on. You know what I'm saying?
Well, would it be called Scroll On?
Hold on. Everybody, get your scroll on.
In parentheses, hold on.
The video is just a bunch of people on their phones just scrolling. Everybody, get your scroll on.
That
All right.
slap on TikTok.
That would. All right. So here we go. I think now the best thing for the tournament, and these are Miss Osaka's words. I think now the best thing for the tournament, the other players, and my well-being is that I withdraw so that everyone can get back to focus on tennis going on in Paris. I never want it to be a distraction, and I accept that my timing was not ideal. So essentially, she's saying, I'm not talking like to make a point. I've been going through it, and I needed the space. And to me, she said that gracefully. She's handling this gracefully, and shout out to her for prioritizing her mental health in the face of what people feel is obligations. But really, you won. You the champion. You called the shots. That is queenly of her to say, did it on y'all. So hold on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna still at home, watch Netflix, get my Netflix scroll on.
Yeah.
Relax.
But let's not lose the essence of the difficulty of a decision like that, right? If you're a competitor, to make that type of decision to pull away for a reason that is for your own betterment, that's a difficult decision to make. And it's actually a very mature decision to make. We've seen a lot of our Black heroes, black sports heroes make stances with their abstinence from things as a sign of protest, right? And so let's, as people in this podcast that appreciate protesting, let's appreciate that for what it is. We saw Muhammad Ali do the same thing, right? We've seen the NBA come together and not play when Black Lives Matter was happening. That is how we as Black athletes, this me include myself, we as Black athletes, me representing the golf
much
pros.
time in the gym that he considers himself amongst the great Black athletes like Muhammad Ali.
Naomi Osaka, look at the company I've placed myself in.
I love the confidence, King. I love it.
No, but that's real though. That element of protest, right? So I want to respect that. She also speaks about the disregard of sports players' mental health, and I think that is very important to raise the question of what does the obligation of an athlete with respect to mental health oblige them to do. You've seen people like Dennis Rodman that detail using sports as that escape from their mental illnesses. Lamar Odom speaks of the same thing. Even people that are not. Michael Jordan says, he basketball is the only time he gets to get away from the world. Right now, what does that mean once that is done? That obligation has been fulfilled. What is their commitment to being able to addressing the media? Not everyone is LeBron James eloquent.
Perfectly put. I got one more quote from you, from Naomi, where she says, "I am not a natural public speaker and get huge waves of anxiety before I speak to the world's media. I get really nervous and find it stressful to always try and engage and give the media the best answers I can." So boom, you're spot on. You know what I'm saying? And if you're more of an introverted person, if you're more just focused, like on the task at hand. If you're somebody like myself or Michael Jordan, right, where you just kind of, I can't get mine in there. You know what I'm saying?
You're the lead athlete too, Phil. Go ahead.
You trying to take the game to, if you're always trying to elevate, you know what I'm saying? Like Kobe or like, you know, even I feel this way. Like, it can be tough. It can be tough it can be tough balancing like needing the sport and that thing you love as an outlet, but also needing to excel in it and also meeting those obligations, right? It can get real funny when love is mixed with business and when people are dependent on you doing the thing you love now. And how can you to try and keep loving it through that?
You know, Miles, let's even be even more transparent, right? We've never had, let me speak about myself. I've never had to speak to the as much media as Naomi Osaka. I've never had that, but as people that have both had, let's say, television appearances and have been recorded in giving and speaking, you do get nervous before those things happen. Right now, I spend a lot of time practicing things that allow me to be comfortable within that space, but that feeling of anxiousness and of nervousness, it's a real feeling to have to go through. It's not like, and that's just mere old me. You know, I can't imagine what that pressure would be like if I had finished practicing or playing against Serena Williams and I'm sitting at the table having to answer these questions. It's nerve-wracking.
Yeah. So so you said you practice. Is it more like a repetition thing? You think out different scenarios that might occur and how you'll respond to them, and that helps you feel prepared? Is that kind of how you overcome that?
Honestly, a lot of meditation is the biggest muscle that whatever you end up doing, it's going to come back to your ability to be present, right? Because that nervousness is that nervousness is you being trapped in scenarios. You're being trapped in what if I fail? You're being trapped in what if I mess up? You're being trapped in how do I look? What if I forget? These are you are now no longer present, but you are living in the realms of your thoughts, right? Mm-hmm. And so with meditation, you're able to separate yourself from your thoughts and view them not as your actual reaction, but view them as a separate blip of many thoughts, right? And depending on how you interact with them, that is what the big practice is. Doing things like this. This for us is the gym.
Yeah,
you know, things like that.
For sure.
And yourself?
I think on my end, it is a lot about thinking through those scenarios in terms of preparation, right? You can't be being prepared, putting the time in, knowing what you're talking about, devoting the care appropriate to the subject.
Gunshots
but then there's hype. Yeah, for sure.
Gunshots to that preparation, bro. That's real.
Everything's a great weapon, you know what I mean? Preparation. And in perspective is the only superpower, but I digest. You dig me?
I think it's really important to also acknowledge that the other thing is just hype, right? It's important for me to, in that space, like take a few deep breaths. I definitely do my own version of like meditation before something like that. But then it's also remembering that I do this. You know what I mean? Like it's also remembering that I have put the hours in the gym. It's one thing to do them, and the benefit of having done those hours is remembering that like I am prepared for this. I'm this is what I do. This is what I care about. This is what I want to continue to do, right? Even if you're not talking specifically about the media thing, I want to continue to be the best of the best in this career, or the best of the best at whatever I'm applying myself to. And so as I step in front of this microphone, let me project where I'm going with this. Yeah. You know what I mean? Let me project the type of person that you're going to continue to see. And you gas yourself up and surround yourself with people that gas you up. Never have I ever had something that made me nervous in an event and not called you beforehand just to be like, yo, let me hit the pads a couple times. Duck, left, right, hook. You know what I'm saying? And like, just make sure that I'm in there, that my footwork is correct, and that, you know, I'm prepared. And you need people like that in your corner, literally your corner. You need your coaching staff, your mentors, you know, people that know how to tell you what you need to hear when you need to hear it.
Yeah. But I love that you got the preparation, because that's literally it. It's the prep, like it's the confidence of preparation gives you this outlook, right? This is the beautiful thing about preparation. Once you prepare, you go, I've done the best that I can do. So whatever the outcome is almost out of my control. However, if I look at the effort that I put in to prepare myself, that is the reward of the whole thing. You know, even with money, that just ends up becoming a byproduct of the dedication you have given to this road of being prepared. Because we do know that success is when opportunity meets preparation. And that's literally it, right? So on the one end, you can't control the opportunity. That's the luck element of it. That's being the right time, the right place, born in the right whatever. It's you. But the preparation elements of it, that is the reward. That is the reward. The process of that is the reward, for sure. To me.
Everybody's homework for All the Way Live is to, at some point, whether you're brushing your teeth, you know what I'm saying, just hopped out the shower, you know what I'm saying, look in that mirror for 1 second and tell yourself, success is where opportunity meets preparation. And you looking mighty successful. Tell yourself that.
Tell him.
One time.
There it is. Speaking about there's many places we can take this conversation. I'm glad we handled the Naomi Osaka. I think we also we wanted to touch on meme stocks.
Meme stocks. You got any meme stocks, bro?
I don't.
What you doing out here, cuz? What you doing out here, bro?
I've recently adopted the reality of the phases of investing, right? This is something that we've spoken about off camera, and this is something that I've said to you, that I've told you I not necessarily struggle with, but I'm trying to comprehend, is what is the right allocation of resources? Because at this current moment, everything I have has to go into my ideas. That is the biggest investment that I am making. Right now, there was a period where the biggest investment I was making was into the structure of different portfolios and having a super agile investment portfolio that has a lot of very exciting things in it, but is also balanced off by these larger iShares and S&P 500s, right? These ETFs. There was that period, and then there's now this period of entrepreneurship, and then thinking forward. You know, I just got an apartment. So that's the investment going into that. The value of that is going to increase at a certain time. Get somebody, you know, invest the cash that's going to renovate, get somebody in there, then you start having a passive income, right? So all to say, do I feel like I'm missing out on the meme stocks and everything like that? Have we created portfolios that include them? Yes. Have we worked with them? Yes. Have we understood them? Yes. Do I own them though? At this current moment, the value I would get back from that is being held by the value of the things that are in front right now, of the businesses that need the cash flow.
I love how you broke down kind of your financial mindset and the phases of life, right? You've invested in the stock market, you've taken that money out to live and to make other investments in yourself and your entrepreneurial endeavors. I think that's dope. I think that's super dope. So
have you invested in meme stocks?
I got a couple little shares of AMC. When GameStop went crazy, a couple of the articles I read were saying like, and now they're talking about AMC, and that one really clicked for me. And this is what they say all the time: is invest in what you believe in, invest in what you know. And as somebody who, you say that, say you, yeah. As my friend Zway Buffett always says, dude, invest in what you know, right? And so, like,
that's literally the slogan of Good Bucks.
Is it?
It literally is invest in what you believe in.
Hey, there you go. Wait, don't I have a rap lyric like that? Anyway, I digest. What was I saying? AMC connected with me for real, because as somebody who, as stuff opens, like I'm not, you know, I'm glad I get to see my homies. I'm glad we get to go out. I've been able to kick it with my homeboys, Casey and Austin. I'm gonna have to link up with my guys, you know, Freddie, Adrian. Shout out the squad, man. Sam, my homeboy Sam is moving to Miami. Shout out to Sam, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so it's been dope to be able to do that. But one of the things that I've been most excited about is like feeling comfortable enough to go back to the movie and get some movie theater popcorn and just sit, watch a big movie. So what's actually dope is, matter of fact, I don't even need to get into that right now. But the point is, I'm ready to go back to the movies. And even if the movies is a business that I see as something that might not have the longevity that we once thought it had because of the way that home entertainment and streaming services have evolved, it did catch my eye as a potential stock buy when I heard about it as a meme stock after GameStop blew up. So I copped a little bit of that. So I got a little bit of AMC. They just went up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I don't have like, you know, I didn't invest thousands in it. You know what I'm saying? I put a little sum in AMC just to see what that do. Did a little sum. Now I invest that, little something else.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah. And I don't want people to feel a lot of the time, there's FOMO. The reality of financial FOMO is so real, right? But this is the truth. This is such a wide ocean of options. There, you at no point can you really be able to put your cash anywhere. We were all together when the oil prices dropped to zero, you know, or the oil futures dropped to zero, and the commodity price shot down. That would have been a short sell for anybody, because now that price is sitting at $60, right? Now that's something I took advantage of, because that's something I understand. That's something that I'm knowledgeable of, something that I can track, and from there flip that back, right? So it just touches a lot so on people having FOMO of not participating in these meme stocks, or not seeing Bitcoin, you know, not jumping onto the massive gains that people are having. And a lot of what I call return porn, you know, is what it is, where people are posting their massive returns. Damn, dude. Damn, dude. And
womp, womp, womp.
and I really emphasized that massive was the problem.
You did. You
Damn.
did.
Problem, story of my life. So a lot of times people feel like they're missing out, but the truth is, there's so many different options that you'll never, you know, there's many different things that you can be able to place your money on at the right time, or not have placed your money on at the right time. There's an infinite number of those things. But the truth is, for a steady scale of wealth creation, as per the experts, there is a rather simple formula with that. Is you need a diversified portfolio, you need passive income coming in, you need you need to have less debt than you do have. You know, your debt to income ratio needs to be set off in the right way. It's a structural approach to it. And so when you look at things from that perspective, you can maybe be at a different place of that approach, but it doesn't mean that you're fully out of it, which is something that I think a lot of people are feeling right now with all this pornographic statistics is being shared.
Word. But I think that's really important to acknowledge, right? I'm reminded of the Atlanta episode where Childish sells the dog with the help of Lakeith, and they come back and he's like, yeah, you'll have, you know, we'll probably double your money in like 6 months. He's like, I'm too poor to invest. I need money now, right? Like, and that's a reality. But the mindset is understanding investment and be looking for that next thing that makes sense to you, right? And that aligns with what? That opportunity that makes sense to you aligns with the preparation of getting your money right, paying off your debt, making sure that your credit is right, paying your bills. You can't buy stock if you got to pay your bills and you don't have extra money, right? So you got to get yourself right in that position. But I think what we're seeing, and I think the reason a lot of that FOMO is like intensifying, is because those stock opportunities are getting closer to a space where more people can understand them, right? We're getting to the space where, and we've kind of done this topic backwards, so our apologies to the people, but watch how I do this right here. What meme stocks really are stocks that are being inflated by groups of people getting together online and acknowledging the cultural importance of a certain brand, right? So a couple of other examples include BlackBerry. BlackBerry is not going to take off past Apple or Samsung at this point in the phone game. but people remember BlackBerry. They remember what it was. They remember what it represented, and it's still available to buy stock. So people are online memeing BlackBerry, deciding to buy the stock, not because of anticipation of what BlackBerry is about to do is make some crazy move, but because of that cultural relevance that everybody's acknowledging. And so that is shooting the stock up. Another example is Bed Bath & Beyond, right? Bed Bath & Beyond is not making no crazy,
New beds or baths or anything beyond that.
or anything. I love this podcast. Yo, right? But people recognize it's a place that many people have worked as a teenager. It's a strange store where you can buy microwaves and like foot massagers. It's like weird. And people are recognizing that cultural significance, and that is the reason that people are lifting it. The result of that, and something that we saw when AMC blew up, was that the people that have been doing the stock trading, that have been making the big money off of it, don't like this so much. They feel like it should be a legitimate company move or a business decision, a new product that should spur and determine market moves. That and Elon Musk's tweets. But they don't like that groups of regular people are getting together online and just deciding to boost something up and profiting from it. So when GameStop went crazy, multiple times, different platforms, including Robinhood, stopped trading of the stock because they were like, they felt like it was being manipulated, although there are no legal reasons that they should have been able to stop it. They felt like this is manipulation because they'd never seen it before with Reddit and people getting together on social media. So Robinhood stopped it, and the stock exchange was like, we don't like this. Fast forward to now, when AMC went crazy, it was stopped. Trading was stopped. People reported in mass not being able to buy or sell the stock 4 separate times throughout the day. And people were looking at Robinhood, the trading platform, like, yo, why y'all keep stopping the trading? Y'all can't do this. And then Robinhood said, hey, bro, it was the New York Stock Exchange. So the New York Stock Exchange is now in a position where allegedly they are stopping trading that is based on these meme stocks, which is the cultural boosting of a company's stock value rather than based on their business practices, decisions, or products. That's where we at with it. That's what's going on. Start to pay attention, get your money right, think about a little bit of an investment fund, and just start looking for stuff that makes sense. If you love Red Lobster and you hear rumblings that Red Lobster might blow up,
put your money in it.
Do that.
It's the best type of money I've ever made. Money that behind things that I care about. It feels better. It feels better. With the there's so much to dive into, even with that, with the Robinhood thing, especially from a business perspective, a business and structural perspective, the ties to what they can and can't do, and how really these companies, right, these intermediary transactionary companies, they are oftentimes at the mercy of what these larger legislative institutions allow them to do. Robinhood has to plug into certain stock exchanges in order for them to be able to reflect those options onto their site. Now, if they really do want to shut it down, it's possible that can happen. And as a modern company, those types of things happen all the time. We saw Uber when it first came out really have to struggle in how it handles its legislations with drivers. Just that one way of putting it out was no longer working, and people were infuriated by it. Was it right? No, it wasn't right. But that is the reality of what they had to adjust to. And I think we're seeing the same thing with Robinhood. But hey man, put your money in what you believe in.
Yes, sir. And stay tuned for more information on Good Bucks, because we making major moves out here, baby.
I cannot wait. Coming soon.
Man, what else, man? What else, man? You know what I'm saying? I think we done served them up a hot plate, skillet, you know what I'm saying? Grilled it up, chefed it, chopped it right, put it with the right sauces, seasonings, and sides to make sure that they had a complete meal. What more could they possibly recommend it and review?
Drop something about that. Drop something for that.
You know what I'm saying? We out here. Voice of the hero. We're gonna add auto tune to that. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get it. You're gonna get me sounding like Durkio out here. Little Dirk. Little baby. Voice of the heroes. You get a chance to listen to it? You listen to it all the way through?
I did. I've listened to it. It's solid. It's solid. It gives me. Is it What a Time to Be Alive?
Oof, good comparison. Good
It gives me
comparison.
"What a Time to Be Alive" vibes, and it's very evident that Lil Baby is the Drake of it.
Interesting. Go on. What do you mean by that?
Just in the sense that we are entering baby's time. You know, in hip hop is a gladiator sport, and there are times where there's a clear champion, right? There's always going to be the champion, but then there's going to also be Spartacus, if you get the gladiator reference right there. But it's, you have somebody that is clearly dominating right now, right? This is the voice of the youth, which is why they called it what it is between the two. And I think Lil Baby, from a technical perspective, from a lyrical perspective, just he's got it. He's the one.
I think he is the sound. I think when you hear him now, he just encapsulates, you know, so much of what we've been hearing over the last 10 years from mumble rap, but still having a lyrical delivery, to snapping over Take Keith, London on the Track, fits right in with the producers that are making waves right now. But it's interesting because for all the praise I can give Lil Baby, that flow doesn't change that much, right?
Yeah.
And so there's an interesting like dynamic here where I'm going through, this is 18 tracks long, something like that. And I'm liking it, and I'm also wondering, to your comparison of somebody like Drake, if you get 18 tracks from Drake, right, you're gonna have such a variety of tones, of singing, of rapping. Did you get ear fatigue at all listening to these two, but particularly Baby, whose flow is gonna be what it's gonna be on every song?
The ear fatigue was there, mainly because, and the ones I usually skipped over are the female songs, right? Or let me say the ones for the ladies, and this one is for the ladies. All of those.
I was gonna drop it, but you bodied that. You bodied that.
You know, all of those. You know, you had a concert. All right, we're gonna take a little bit slow now and dedicate one for the ladies. But that being said, there's a huge female fan base that just eats this music all the way up. I don't care how hard you think you like Lil Baby, how much you think you like Lil Durk. There's shorties out there in Atlanta and Chicago that love him way more than you do, and that is their jam. You know, me personally, I did get ear fatigue from it, but I expected there to be misses. What I liked a lot. What I didn't like was what I usually don't like about that type of music.
All right, boom. So I think that brings us to, do you have the track list? Do you want to give us some of the highlights from the album?
I would do it, but the paper I wrote it on, I also wrote this Lloyd Banks album track list on top of it, so it's a little hard to read, because what I'm looking at is this Lloyd Banks. Oh my goodness, I love me some hip-hop.
Don't trip. We're gonna get there. Let me give them a little bit of my highlights from this.
Please do.
I liked Lying. Lying sounded just like King Von. And I just appreciated
Durk making that record and that space on this project, just continuing to, you know, just show that loyalty, and just like, I love that in artistry, right? In much the same way that I appreciate whenever you hear a Meek record and there's a reference to Snoop, or you can tell that's the bag he's in, is thinking about that homie. That came across really dope. I thought that was like a dope kind of homage, right? I messed with If You Want To, right? That's like further down the track list, track 15. I think this actually got like this kind of picked up a little bit at the tail end. Rich Off Pain, Make It Out, Bruised Up, If You Want To. Those last few songs are super dope to me.
Yeah.
I liked Hats Off, right? I like Man of My Word. I like Still Hood. I liked a lot of this. I didn't get
a lot of
it
is good. A lot of it is good. It's gym music, it's car music. A lot of it is very good.
And it's I as the summer like opens up, bro, and people are starting to go out again, hearing these songs as an album from these two guys is one thing, and to be able to appreciate that is good is one thing. But these songs are the songs that are going to stand out among mixes throughout the summer. You know what I mean? These are going to be the high points of being out and hearing, you know, whether it's Hats Off, whether it's what's the Meek feature, Still Running.
Yeah,
there's gonna be some even the songs for the ladies, man. So I was very happy with this, right? I'm as a Chicago native, bro. Like the fact that you mentioned What a Time to Be Alive, but you look at Watch the Throne, you look at Voice to the Heroes. We are part of some of these collab albums. Chicago, it's amazing for Chicago to be acknowledged in that space too, and just to be, continue to for Dirk to just kind of take up that role, bro. Dirk has really just kind of stood up to be like, yo, I guess I'm the guy in Chicago, and continue to carry that sound and like I don't think anybody in 2012 was projecting Dirk to be this consistent, this guy. So shout out to him, man. I'm super proud of that musically. I rock with it. It hits so different riding around in Chicago too. Like that music is. I took just a drive to go pick up some some Lamb's barbecue. You don't know nothing about that Southside all day. You know what I'm saying? With the mild sauce on the side, extra lemon pepper. But I digest. I went to go pick that up, just listening to the album, and just it sounds like this area, bro. It sounds like this. So, man, I was not expecting to like this as much as I did. I super appreciate it. I'm gonna give this one 4 mics.
4 out of 5 mics. Wow, that's very high. That's very high.
Yeah,
that's very, very high. And I'm glad that you touched on. I'm glad you touched on the importance of Dirk in Chicago, because Chicago does have a plethora of talent. I mean, you got Mick Jenkins coming out of Chicago. You've got No Name coming out of Chicago. You got Saba coming out of Chicago. You got Dirk. Put Dirk in there. You've got Chance if you want to. You've got there's a whole lot of talent that's in Chicago.
Yeah. You got Herbo. You got Polo G.
You got Polo G. How could I even forget the youngins?
And if there's one critique that I could make about this is that the difference between the songs was so dependent on the beat that features were super welcome, right? And so I wish there were certain songs where I'm like, man, there should have, I hear Polo G on this, right? And, rest in peace, Devon, but Polo G is out here. Go get him. You know what I mean? Go get G Herbo. You know what I'm saying? Go get Lucky. Some of these other Chicago dudes that are making noise, but not to say that Dirk doesn't drop an OTF mixtape every 6 months for literally only the family. So
for literally only the family. He explains it in the hook.
Explained it. Yeah. So man, I'm with it. I'm bumping this. This is super hard. And just congratulations to those two gentlemen, man. I think that they are running with the mantle of being the guys. So word.
Who did not Herbo? Who did? How am I forgetting his name?
King Lord, Taste Ave.
No, literally on the Baby.
King Louis.
Literally on the Baby album is Baby and Dirk. Damn.
What?
Dirk. I was thinking
Dirk.
a little Dirk.
Who we've been talking about this whole time?
Dude, that is so embarrassing. I'm gonna cut that out. Who did he pick up the mantle from in Chicago? Who dropped it and who did he take it from?
On the
Chance.
On the street side, I would say he's been kind of leading since Keith was like, all right, I'm just gonna be my legend self. He's still doing the music. That new Bugatti, he's on that. That goes hard. That dropped last week.
Stupid.
That's dumb. But Keith definitely was like took a backseat musically, if not culturally. And Dirk kind of stepped up in that. I think for a little bit, Young Pappy was that guy. Rest in peace to Young Pappy. But yeah, I think there was a little time. There was a King Louis. There was FBG Duck, and Dirk was always kind of in that mix. But again, I don't think anybody expected him to be the guy that just kept it going, right?
Yeah.
Lo and behold. But Polo G is up there too, man. I mess with Polo G's music, so he want that top spot too. And his bodies of work album wise are super solid. Polo G. So. It's a lot. I'm proud of my city, bro.
Listen, while we're still bigging up beautiful music, that Lloyd Banks album, if you haven't jumped on it, it's for the heads. It's for the heads. Personally, That was what I was listening to more of this week, but also because I was chopping wood in the cold, trying to keep my family warm, wearing gloves. So that Lloyd Banks gritty hip hop music and that deep, dark, introspective writing, it's not summertime in South Africa right now. Okay,
That's what I was about to say.
it's not
That's the flip.
summertime. That shake,
This-
that booty shaking music, inappropriate.
I don't know, but as somebody who lives in Chicago, we make sure that there's booty shaking when it's cold. Helps. So y'all might want to rethink that one. But I definitely feel you on the vibe. You the winter album to get you through to grinding it out in the cold.
Yeah. If I may say, and this is going to be very controversial between the two of us, if I have to compare it out to the eldest statesmen of hip hop's albums that have dropped, this Banks album is better than Jim Jones's last album, and I think could be compared to Jim Jones's first album.
What? You think this? Do you think this Lloyd Banks project is better than El Capo?
I think it's better than El Capo. El Capo is the latest one to drop, right?
He just dropped the deluxe of El Capo.
Was it no?
But El Capo's,
was it the deluxe?
yeah, with the red cover. That's the deluxe of El Capo. Yeah.
I'm talking the latest Jim Jones and Harry Fraud.
Oh, that's
The Fraud Department
the Fraud Department,
is better than the Fraud Department.
but not better than El Capo.
El Capo, nah. But you can't compare it. You can't
All
compare
right,
it.
all right.
You
That's,
can't
that's
compare
good.
it.
That's good hip hop. That's good
You
hip
can't
hop.
compare it. I'll give that 4 out of 5 mics. I give that 4 out of 5 mics.
Wow, double 4 out of 5s.
Double 4 out of 5s.
Double 4. We out here.
Yo, are you
Oh.
watching Floyd Mayweather fight Logan Paul tonight?
I guess.
Damn.
I'm much
not
more
waking up
excited.
early for that.
I'm much more excited about the Adesanya fight next week. So we're gonna be in tune for that. Mo UFC on the way. But
Yes,
yeah,
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I might watch this. We'll see what I'm doing.
You know what's crazy, Miles Xavier? Throughout this whole entire podcast, I don't know if the people knew this, but we know.
Oh yeah, we know.
We know.
We aware, bro. Yeah, I'm sure they know too, man. It's a lot. It's a lot of podcasts. It's a lot. So if you are hearing the savory sounds of hazelnut tones and chestnut tones
Hello.
right now,
Chestnut, yeah.
chestnut tones, yeah, hazelnut, yeah, and we appreciate you. We love you, man. This is beautiful. This felt amazing. It is 95 degrees in Chicago. I'm sweating like a mug, and I am. There's still nowhere I would rather be than here talking to y'all, talking to you, my bro, celebrating life, celebrating how good it feels to be black. Don't it feel good?
My favorite thing.
So man, look, something delicious. Hug somebody you love. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Peace, water. We gone.
That's a motherfucking podcast, boy.